yeah, you like Linkin Park.
Yeah, I liked Linkin
and
Park.
Nickelback. And let me guess, Avril Lavigne.
Not anymore, actually. I did like a few of her songs in the past, but that's it. Hey, what is wrong with it? What is wrong with it? Oh my God! Will it help to say that I actually like Metallica?
That doesn't change anything, Eric.
Screw you. But
Wait, what? You love Saint Anger?
No.
You are listening to Alternating with Eric, episode 32. I am Connor. I'm a musician and a bit of an audiophile, and also a massive anime fan and geek. And I have here, as usual, my friend, my Russian martial artist, Eric.
Hello. This is still a weird intro because never thought I'd be introduced like this in a podcast. Well, at least I'm not being introduced as in the same way as the Murder Files podcast. Hello, and I am blah blah blah, and this here with me is a murder psychologist. I'm like, oh boy.
I figured to go. And this is Jeffrey. He's murdered about 6 people. He's eaten about 4 of them. And I did have a co-host, but he is currently in Jeffrey's stomach at the moment.
I don't know how that happened, but I'm going to keep this podcast going and hopefully stay alive.
So to segue from eating people, what have you been up to, Eric?
I'm sorry.
Segues.
Segue indeed. I have not been up to too much in terms of watching anime and manga, unfortunately. So, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, I have been up to working.
You did read some God of High School, though, from what I've heard.
Not read. Watched the anime made. I do not know I can't remember what the equivalent is to Korean animations, so I'm just going to call it an anime.
It is just an anime because if it's done by a Japanese studio, even if it's not written by a Japanese studio, it's technically anime.
I'm gonna have to check.
I think if it's just animated in Japan, it's anime.
I'll have to check back on
Although
that
then
and see
again,
if it was animated.
Thundercats is animated in Japan, so I don't know.
Well, I'll have to check back on that. I mean, I could do it now on my phone, but meanwhile, I watched an episode of that, mostly because I enjoyed reading God of High School previously, because it was a lot of fun, up to a point where it just kind of dragged on, and it's just wow. I can't say that it was the best, but here we go, Studio Mappa, Japanese animation studio. There we go. It's an anime. Yeah, cool. No, I don't have to have pitchforks and torches come at me from Koreans.
If it's weird. I don't know. Like, do you count it? Because Scooby-Doo is technically anime at one point. Because Scooby-Doo was animated, the movies. I think one of them is called Cyber something.
I think
that was animated by Studio Mock.
I think no. I think because once America got a hold of the rights on it, it immediately became a cartoon. So even though it was created by an animation studio in Japan, it has been defined as a cartoon for all time, I think.
Yeah.
So I think a little different. And I think with God of High School, the original source material was a manhwa, which is Korean manga. Yeah. But I guess since a Japanese animation studio created, it's technically anime, but it is a pretty good anime. I gotta be honest with you. The visuals were nice.
I've heard it's really repetitive though. That's the main issue I've heard.
Oh yeah. It is definitely very repetitive. And I'm just having a look at just kind of what else they've done. So Studio Mappa did
Hajime no Ippo.
Ippo Rising.
Yep.
Yep. They did Terror and Resonance.
Didn't
which
they
I
do
thought,
Giant Killing or one of those sports shows?
Giant Killing. They did Punchline. Can't remember what that was. Oh, guess what else they did in 2016?
What?
Yuri on Ice.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was trying to remember what sports they did. Like one of those sports shows.
Yep. Zombieland Saga. I like that actually. It was a nice one. Kakegurui.
Yeah.
I can't believe you dislike that. It was a decent gambling anime.
Oh yes, that's the one that's just like they're just like, oh yeah, well, if you can't handle kaiji, watch this.
Can't handle kaiji, watch
If you're horny and you can't watch kaiji, watch this.
Jesus Christ, what on earth are you?
Well, that's half of the fan base for that show, man.
What's the other half? Me? Oh, geez, that means only 2 people actually watched it. That's a pretty sad thing to
Well, I'm telling you, man, people who watch that are just watching that like for the sexy stuff.
Okay, whatever.
Because they basically do like porn expressions in that show.
Oh my god. But yeah, okay, I will not disagree with you on that one. But I did enjoy it. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed the God of High School, at least the first episode. But then, of course, by the end of it, I remembered, oh no, I don't like the manga. I don't want to keep doing this. Bringing back all those memories of, oh my god, when is this ending? But yeah, I mean, yeah, dropping it was, the reason I dropped it is obviously because it just carried on too long. The unfortunate Dragon Ball Z curse.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've also gone back to rereading Magical Girl Apocalypse. I think, as I've mentioned once to Connor, who has told me this is an edgelord type anime, manga.
Become so numb, I can feel
Hey.
Oh yeah, you like Linkin Park.
Yeah, I liked Linkin
and Nickelback. And let me guess, Avril Lavigne.
Not anymore, actually. I did like a few of her songs in the past, but that's it. Hey, what is wrong with it? What is wrong with it? Oh my god. Will it help to say that I actually like Metallica?
That doesn't change anything, Eric.
Screw you. But
what, you love Saint Anger?
No. No, I actually like some of their more decent songs. Especially with Wherever I May Roam. But going back to Magical Girl Apocalypse, I think the one thing that really caught my attention was the gory scenes. I think they did pretty well with that one. Especially when you figure that he wants Corey in the gore. You clearly know that's a good song. Hey, me and a few guys at the at Rongotai used to sing that out loud, right? Haven't you?
Well, Eric, you were about like 15 or 16. That makes sense.
And I can't believe you.
I really liked 3 Days Grace when I was that age, so
And so did I, and I'm not mocking you about it.
Yeah, but I didn't say I like 3 Days Grace now.
Ouch.
They do have good bass lines, but that's about it.
Yeah. But in any case, it was also an interesting idea going off of, what happens if a magical girl who is a character previously thought to just protect others with their magical girl powers, aka Sailor Moon. And nobody can argue with me on this because Sailor Moon is a magical girl.
No, it is. I'm not arguing.
Yeah, okay,
with
good.
I'm just laughing.
Turns into this batshit evil, insane incarnation of, everything that's, wrong with a psychopath, and just starts killing everyone. And it's a really interesting idea. And so that's pretty much what happens in this whole manga. And that's pretty much what I've been up to. And what about you, Connor?
So I finally finished Great Pretender. I know like a bunch of other people have already finished it, but I was waiting for them. They go in like arcs for each heist. They did Los Angeles, like a whole arc of doing like a heist there. They did an arc in Singapore, and this one was in London and France. And so I put off watching it because I like with the heist just to binge all the arc. So I just waited for all the episodes to come out of that arc and then just watched it. And I really enjoyed it. I watched it on Netflix because it's on Netflix, and before that, like I actually wasn't watching on Netflix, but now I'm watching on Netflix, and it's good. It's good. Good show. Good visuals. I really, damn it, I wish I could remember the name of the characters. I'm blanking on the character names right now, but
it's okay. I blank the character names.
But red hair, the girl with, and when I say red hair, I don't mean like orange hair like me. Actual red hair, girl is.
You mean like what is it? Black Widow?
Yeah, no. Black Widow's like a ginger. No, I mean like actual red, like the color red hair.
Really?
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name. Cynthia. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia gets an arc in this, and she has like a really sweet romance with this this painter dude, and it's a really sweet arc, and it's got some nice ups and downs and twists and turns, as I usually say. But I really enjoyed that. So I finished that, and then I this week have been of course deciding on what to do for our next couple shows, because next week I'm going to be in Invercargill. I've got to go down and get some of my stuff that's still there. So no recording next week. So we'll have a Let's Play or something else. We'll have this podcast out for the week coming up, and then the week after that there'll be a Let's Play or something. But basically we are going to do a Halloween show at some point. So we'll probably do that when I come back down again. And I've been trying to sort of decide what to do for that and what to do for this. And so, yeah, I've been planning that. And then I am also finishing off American Horror Story Hotel. I watched all of Asylum. That was great. And now I'm on to Hotel. And Hotel is fun because it's got vampires and a shining-like hotel. And, yeah.
Yeah, I've never managed to have a chance to watch American Horror Story.
It's not bad. Matt, I like it because Hotel's got my man Matt Boomer from Doom Patrol. So I was happy to see him get some more work.
Ooh, Doomy Patrolly.
Yeah, well, I like Doom Patrol, and he was good in that. And then to see him in this is pretty good. And Lady Gaga plays the lead vampire in this, and I was a little unsure of her at first, but she's really starting to prove herself with this.
Wow, I actually want to see that now.
Yeah. It's her, Kathy.
Not to mention, I may have gotten a snide remark from you earlier when you told me about a new song.
Her new
from Lady
album
Gaga.
is really good. Like her new album.
I wasn't saying anything about it. I was just saying I didn't pay any attention to her.
I legitimately think she's a good artist and good musician. I mean that. Like, she's a really good piano player. She can actually sing pretty good. I think she's a little bit pretentious sometimes, but I genuinely think she's a good musician. And her last two albums have been pretty good. Star Is Born wasn't too bad. I did kind of, I don't know, with this and American Horror Story, I was kind of thinking like, she's not really playing a role. She's just playing her stage self in this. And then with A Star Is Born, I was just like, oh, you're playing yourself. But I don't know. She didn't do bad with both of those roles. And I would just like to see her do something really different. But she is good in this. And so is Matt Boomer's good in this. Kathy Bates is in this. She's really good. And it's most of like the regulars. Sarah Paulson obviously is in this, and yeah, it's a great cast. Lots of interesting characters. Love the design with the hotel, and there's lots of like great 80s like style synth music and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of Depeche Mode sort of influence stuff, and there's a little bit of actual Depeche Mode thrown in there as well. So it weirdly, it's set in like the 2000s, like it's kind of meant to be modern day. But when you get into the hotel, it's like, am I in the 80s? It feels very like kind of 80s sort of club scene like music with like the Shining type hotel, like, which is kind of cool. I like that aesthetic. So yeah, watched that. And then Eric's probably heard of this story, but maybe haven't seen the movie. I watched the 1985 Hachiko movie. So Hachiko is the famous dog in Japan that waited for his owner after he died, and there's a big statue of him in Shibuya when you go in. It's even in Persona 5, which was kind of cool to see. They've named it like, I think it's Hachibo or something like that. They named it something else, but it's clearly Hachiko. And yeah, it's a really good movie. Like it's made in 85, but it's set like pre-20s going into the 30s. And what's interesting is it's that setting, but it has nothing, like they don't ever talk about the war or what's going on like with that too much. It's mostly focused on these characters like getting the dog and then the dog and the problems they have with that, and like the daughter getting married. There's a kind of an interesting thing going with her where at the start of the movie, like the parents don't want this dog because a dog they had before had died and they were really upset about that. And then the daughter's like, no, I love dogs, they're so cute, we should get one. And so they get one, and then she like doesn't pick up the dog because she's got to go to a concert like with her boyfriend, who later on we find out she's pregnant and she's going to get married to this guy. And then she basically says like, oh, I don't care about the dog, Dad, can you take the dog? And it's like, bitch, you just asked them to take this dog they weren't going to take, and now you're like, no, I can't take it. And she basically leaves the house, gets married and all that, so they have to take this dog. And like they're kind of reluctant about having it, but then like he just slowly warms up to having it. And the main guy in this who plays his owner is Tatsuya Nakadai, and he is Nakadai, and he is really good in this. He is he has to start off kind of stern, be that typical sort of Japanese father figure, but then he becomes like this really cheerful, upbeat guy, and you just really like seeing him and the dog bond is just really sweet. And it's a movie that like you could probably watch it with your kids or something. You definitely going to be crying like or getting upset at parts of it because it definitely hits you hard. If you cried at that dog episode in Futurama, then you are going to be bawling in this one because there is some.
Oh my god! Is it? Wow, I definitely.
This has some like sad moments.
Oh, that dog episode in Futurama, that was just.
And it's not like difficult to watch, like sad. It's very sad because you get attached to the dog, you get attached to the owner, you get to see them bond. Like they like share a bath sometimes. They, obviously like he'll fall asleep and the dog will sleep with him, and they'll play and stuff. We'll go for walks with him. And he basically takes his dog on this walk every day, like to the station. And then one day he sadly has like a stroke, or I think it was like a heart attack. And then, the dog they don't know what to do. And the dog eventually just like sits there and waits for the owner. Goes like every afternoon, the same time he usually would, to like wait for his owner to come back. And it's really sad, but it's a really good movie. It's really well made. Tatsuya Nakadai is very good, and he's still alive. He's like in his 80s now, and he's fantastic. He's in a bunch of Akira Kurosawa movies and a bunch of Masaki Kobayashi movies, which are really good movies. Like he's done Kwai-Don and Harikiri, and I'm trying to remember some of the others, but he's done lots of really good movies. He's done a really good war movie that was like it's over 4 hours long or something, but it's really good.
Which war movie?
Tatsuya's in it. I'll see if I can remember it next time, but I can't remember.
World War II or World War I?
Nah, it's Japan.
Korean War, Japanese
I think
war,
it might have been the
Chinese
Korean
war.
War. I can't remember. Well, this was made. This would have been 60s or 50s, like sometime around then. So
that would have been the Korean War.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's the one where they've got the stars on the hats.
I
think they've got the stars on the hats or something. They've got like that sort of hat.
Okay, then.
But it's very good. Like I've heard it's very good, and it's got Tatsuya in it, and he's a really good actor. He's really good in Kwai-Don as well. If people have seen that, he's the guy in the Snow Woman episode of that, the one where it's is it Yuki Ono or something? The Snow Woman that basically is like a that'll take people and yeah. So it's
good folklore as well.
Yeah, he's in that segment, and he's very good in it. And he's in this movie, and he's great. So definitely give Hachiko a watch. And we're gonna take a slight break, and then we're gonna get into this review. So we'll catch you after the break.
See ya. and we are back from our break and ready to do our review. So, this week, me and Connor looked at a couple of an anime and manga, which featured a horror type scenario where.
Do you want me to say the theme for this week?
Yes, because I forgot what the theme was.
So originally, I had actually planned like this and the Halloween one out. Like even when we first, I had a big list of some stuff on my old phone of like what we were gonna do, and like I thought about it and I was like, no, we got to change the theme because the theme I almost was gonna do was infection. And then I was like, oh, COVID, not the best thing. And then I chose this show that we're going to talk about today. And I saw the first episode and I was like, oh, should we review this? Because this is like, this has got some COVID-y like similarities.
Look, some things we can't avoid. And
but then I watched it and I was like, no, we can go a different angle on this because what we're talking about today is we're not talking about infectious diseases, thankfully. We are talking about... monster infection. So we're talking, the theme today is like people being turned into zombies, people being turned into monsters, that sort of thing.
People being turned into whatever the fuck
we probably
is in
will
the
cover
manga.
this again. And this one and the manga are very different in terms of what people turn into. This one, they mostly turn into, just monsters, eh? That's probably the best way to summarize.
Yes, monsters. I actually have one comparison that only came to mind once. There probably are other better comparisons, but this is the one comparison that came to my mind when it came to basically how this infection worked in this anime. But I'll mention it once we start. Are we starting the review immediately?
Yeah, we are in the review already. So can you tell us the title of the show?
Gibiate.
Oh, so you can actually... I was wondering how to pronounce it. I was wondering how we were going to pronounce it because I don't remember them saying it actually in the show that much.
One thing I actually wanted to ask is, do you think that this is a play on due to the fact that this Gibiate and the title of the first episode, the title of the first episode is Spirited Away. And what studio created a movie called Spirited Away?
Oh yeah, I see.
I'm thinking
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, I'm asking, is this a bit of a play on words, or am I the only one who thinks?
So I'll give the plot synopsis right here.
Okay, then.
So, the world has been infected with a virus that turns people into monsters. A samurai and a ninja are sent into the future. There, they must help Kathleen and her friends survive in the post-apocalypse. And that's basically the plot for this.
I mean, the only interesting part about that is the time-traveling samurai and ninja. Everything else is like standard.
Kind of interesting, but when you're watching it, like the first half, it was really scary because I was like, oh fuck, is this a COVID-19 anime? Because they didn't say the monster bit at first, and I was watching it, and it's like, cities are destroyed, and there's a virus that's affecting people. I'm like, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
Is this going to be us in like 2 weeks?
Yeah,
or like next year, because like I don't know, like America's not completely destroyed, but
well,
Jesus, man, like some of the visuals in here, I was like,
you mean the mass graves?
Yeah,
I've seen those. Those are some really
and there's a bit of that, like sort
of. You
of.
should see what they're doing in Indonesia.
Yeah,
they're taking people who have convicted a crime and telling them to dig up graves for people who've died of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, sorry, they're doing that for people who aren't wearing masks. Yeah. So that's what they're doing.
Well,
in
They're
Indonesia.
probably going to die of COVID, so it makes sense.
Well, yeah, but the people who are digging the graves are actually wearing masks and protective gear in order to, stave off from the infection.
So yeah, this was almost a little too close to COVID with some of the start of this. But once they get past that part and they're like, oh, it's monsters, I was like, oh, thank God it's fictional horror, not real horror. And then they introduced this samurai ninja angle. And when I was watching the show the first time, I was like, did I write this when I was 15 or 16? Like, this feels like something I'd write like as I was getting into anime. Because I was looking at the visuals too. It was like, yep, that's totally how I would design a samurai, and it's totally how I would design a ninja. because I was watching Naruto and I was at that point.
Actually, I would think the ninja design would have been, and the samurai designs would have been on point.
Yeah.
Because you can't imagine them. Definitely the characters of Naruto would be something we wrote when we were 15, 16.
Yeah.
But these are much closer to what could be counted as historical accuracy. But I guess in terms of the ninja
They're
angle,
kind of meant to just look cool. That's kind of the
true. But I would think in terms of the ninja angle, it was a little bit weird for them to exile a ninja. Because if you're a ninja in that era, you don't get exiled. You get your head chopped off.
I do like that he makes a joke about the fact they dyed his hair blue, and he's like, "This would be terrible for being a ninja." And I was like, "Yes,
yes," but not terrible for looking like Lancer from the Fate Stay Night series.
Yeah, I got that vibe too.
Okay, thank God I'm not the only one. Because seriously, he could be a splitting image.
So the character designs in this are actually done even more like I was watching this and being like, yeah, this is a 2000s vibe, and this has a very something I'd be into at the time. And I looked at the visuals, and the visuals are done by. Now I might butcher the first name because I've only got the first and last name here. So it's Yoshitaka Amano. Now you might be familiar with that name because the guy who did this also did the visuals for Final Fantasy, the original ones.
Yep.
And Angel's Egg, if you've ever seen that movie, really great visuals for that. And he is also really well known for a movie that came out in the 2000s called Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Wow.
And you can even see a little bit of the Vampire Hunter D sort of look in the samurai dude. He's got that sort of
yeah.
And I don't think he did Ninja Scroll, but this show, some of the designs looked a little Ninja Scrolly and felt a bit Ninja Scrolly to me.
I can't remember. I got a copy of Ninja Scroll, but I can't remember.
Just the hair, the hair design a little bit reminded me of the main dude from Ninja Scroll.
For the males or the females?
The male. Okay. The main male dude that you see on the cover of Ninja Scroll looks a little similar to this, and I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just, because it does have kind of a 2000s vibe to it as well, so that 2000s, 90s kind of vibe, but it's a really cool show. The music was done, the opening was done by the Yoshida brothers. They're a really cool Shaman Sen group.
Gibiate is done by the Yoshida brothers.
The opening, at least, is done by the Yoshida brothers.
Oh my God! Yep. Now I'm getting it. I thought it sounded a little bit familiar. I thought it was I thought they were using the same guys who did Samurai Champloo opening.
No.
Or some of the music from Samurai Champloo.
No, this was done by them, and they got some other people as well to work on the music because it's not just all. It is a lot of traditional, actual Japanese flute and thing music like that. But music isn't too bad, and it's just it's a really fun show. I love shows that'll make me feel like either a teenager or a kid again when I'm watching it, and I'm just having fun watching it. I didn't have any trouble getting through the first 3 episodes. They weren't super unpredictable. There wasn't any major twists or anything. I just had a fun time watching the show. I was just enjoying it, and it wasn't it wasn't intense or anything. It wasn't really that. It wasn't that scary, but it was interesting. What was just your general thoughts before we get into some pros and cons and some spoiler discussion?
Well, I don't know. Did seem a little generic, Gibiate, to be honest. Really, there's only very few things that I really liked about him. The ninja being one of them as the favorite character.
Where he had the wires.
It's just mostly his own.
That felt like them going you like Helsing, right? Let's give you another character of wires.
No, here's the thing though. His whole character is the kind of character I really like, and these sort of situations, the more upbeat, the more a slightly sensible character. Everyone else seems really down or really infatuated or.
Well, the world is kind of destroyed, Eric. How do you expect them that?
True, but it's not like as we know, as we've seen time and time again, depression isn't exactly the thing that needs to be held up to the high standard.
Yeah.
In this kind of situation, but I don't know. I just like that character. Yeah, out of all of them. Though with the character of Sensui, there was something strange about his own facial designs. I'm gonna have to point out there. It's more to do with his lips.
Yeah, if you've seen Vampire Hunter D, you that's sort of a similar thing too.
I know, but this seems to be way more pronounced.
Because it's very detailed and it's very like Amano's, like if you've seen his stuff, he does like really high quality, high detailed like portrait like drawings. Like I would compare his like art to the guy who did like the girl who did all the Castlevania like stills. Like it's very much like that. Like very detailed, very what would you call it? Like very like very noticeable shadows. Like everybody's faces are like very how would you say, like very detailed. That'd be the best way. Very expressive, very detailed. Like he's it's very much like very detailed. Very yeah.
I would say the facials. Yeah, there was definitely that. But yeah, I just thought the character designs did look a little weird. But I guess that's because it was my attention was turned more away to the designs of the monsters, which I thought, despite their 3D.
So let's get into the cons and the pros of this. So biggest con right out of the gate is the fucking like CG.
Yes,
that is like almost the new 2016 Berserk level, where like they could be really scary if they were done in 2D animation. But because this is full CG, like it just isn't scary.
There were some very, very brief 2D moments about these monsters, but they weren't. I don't think they were enough to kind of stave away from
I think the CG also ruins like some of the coloring on the monsters too, and like some of the because there's times where it's like that would look really scary if like it was done in 2D because it would look a little bit uglier too because it looks too perfect. Like some of the detailing.
It's almost like having a great picture and putting a smudge on it.
Yeah.
You think it looks okay, but no.
Like I think the monsters, and I might get some shit for this. I think the monsters in Blue Gender look really good because they look ugly and they look like it's not that high quality animation. Like it's 2D animated, but it's not like super high quality. But it's kind of good that it isn't because the show is meant to look kind of ugly and dirty, and the monsters are meant to look kind of ugly and dirty. So having that like kind of look to it really works. Whereas here, like it's meant to be, like they're trying to do really high quality CG, but they can't really do it that well. And so it's just like kind of in this weird middle where it's like.
And here's the thing. And here's the thing. I think
too good and it looks too bad at the same time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I do like some of these monster designs because the two things I'm going to point out is that the whole thing, the series and the monsters do remind me of another series called Black Bullet. Which is another show about an infectious disease that rampages the world, infecting people and turning them into horrible monsters. The monster designs in Black Bullet I thought were great. Really scary, massive, and just creepy as hell. Here, it's almost done the same, but in a much more different sense. Like for example, the gecko scorpions. Like this is the head and body of a gecko with the legs and tail of a scorpion. That's creepy as hell. These things look like a mutated version of a face hugger from the Alien series. And the other favorite monster I liked is the pterodactyl devils.
Oh yeah, I like them too.
It's the humanoid.
But I'm a sucker for pterodactyls.
Pretty much. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that their CG was absolute crap, I would think that it is a great monster design because pterodactyls are already scary. Giving them a more humane shape is like, yeah. So I thought the monster designs were quite good in this series, and that's the thing I liked. Especially in the third episode where we have that variant that comes out. That thing looked like a boss from the Devil May Cry series, and just
Yeah.
It was scary.
It's funny when you look at the CG because you're watching the show and it's like there are just 2D animations of the main characters, and then the CG monster turns up and it's like, wait, is this turned into a video game suddenly? Like I feel like I should be seeing like what is it, like the boss battle like thing come up, and then like the little thing like on the RPG
and the massive health bar.
Yeah, like a massive health bar, and then like the main character's little scroll comes up for them to like select an attack or whatever, you know. Like it's kind of like Dirge's Cerberus sort of.
And I think the other thing that was my favorite was the ninja, but I already explained why.
Yeah.
And the other thing I liked is some of the historical context they've included. As an example in episode 3, where they introduce a new character who was a warrior monk. I forgot to put his name down, but his
We'll just call him Monk.
Huh?
We'll just call him Monk.
Yeah, we'll call him the war monk.
Yeah.
He was involved with a Buddhist sect called the Honganji. So this was a Buddhist sect, I believe, that was also a Shaolin. And historically, this warrior monk sect was involved with having to defend themselves against Oda Nobunaga.
Nobunaga, yeah.
Nobunaga, yeah, that's right. And they survived those attacks because Oda couldn't even do anything. And so this was praised by the ninja at the time. And I had looked up at this this whole thing, and I thought this was really cool. Good little bit of history included into it, and yeah, those are my pros, and obviously my cons were a few of the characters were meh, the CG designs were terrible, and the whole series I could ascribe to being very similar to even other series that Connor doesn't like or hasn't seen before. So that's for me. What about yours? Pretty much the same.
So yeah, I've mentioned my cons. The CG. Jeez, I should turn my phone off because work is texting me at the moment, and they know I'm not working next week because I'm going to be in Invercargill.
They don't care.
So as I've brought up before, the CG not great. The other issue, I'm surprised Eric didn't notice this. So the voice acting in this show, we watch this in sub because there isn't a dub from what I could see. And the voice acting is not too bad. Most of the characters are voiced pretty well, except one character caught my eye like straight away where I was like, okay, that sounds like a 60 or 70-year-old dude trying to sound like a young dude. And it just kind of took me out a little bit. Do you know what character I'm talking about, Eric?
Is it the ninja? No, it's Kathleen, is it?
No. Oh. No, they sounded fine. The issue I'm talking about is the doctor. The doctor, for me, when I listened to him, I was like, yeah, that sounds like a 60 or 70-year-old dude trying to sound like a 20-something. And I looked it up. It's a 70-something-year-old voice actor doing the part.
Oh, my
God. Now, sometimes this works. There are some really good voice actors who can like sound really young, even in their old age, like Toru Furuya. He can still voice his character from Saint Seiya and sound like that character, even at like age 60 or whatever he is at now. But this casting, I was like, nah, it's kind of taking me out a bit. And it did sound like a bit of a forced like voice, like he was trying to sound really young and it just didn't sound right. So I noticed that. That was one big con for me. But I did like the characters. I'm a sucker for kind of fish out of water situations. And I've been looking for like a really good anime that does this. I know there's a mecha one that I've heard's kind of good that I might check out. But this one, what I really liked is I really liked just some of the jokes where they're just like in the car and they're like, wow, this is like 10 horses but really fast, or like they're using the camera. They're like, wait, you don't have to wait for this thing to load up, and they're like, no, we can just go. Or they're like, you don't need any time to prepare, because they're used to like the old like coat sort of photography, or like they might have not even had cameras, some of them. So it's any kind of camera based photography. So it is kind of interesting that they throw like all this technology at them, and I love how they're just like, oh yeah, we could. They're just like, oh yeah, we don't have time to explain any of this. You just gotta go with it.
Yeah, that was was a bit of a rush.
Like,
rush.
I love how
job
the monk is just like, oh, you're in a flying bird, okay. Like he's just looking at the plane. He's like, it's a bird, and they're like, yeah, can you help us? And he's like, well, I don't know you, but sure.
Oh, that makes him a good monk, not a bad monk.
Yeah. So this show, there's like a lot of jokes where like, yeah, they're just Russian things. But
that's one way of putting it.
I didn't mind that. But I've sort of stated some of my cons of and pros of the show. Like I did really like the feel and the tone of the show. Like it was just fun to watch. Like some other shows I've been watching recently, like Eric knows some things I'll watch that are brand new and then I'll just not finish them or something. Like I put off Great Pretender for a while because I was waiting for the arc to finish, like the first arc and going to the second one. And with this show, like I don't feel at all like the need of just getting bored. Like yes, there's nothing really to hold me there, like massively, like to get me hooked to each episode. But I know when I watch it, I'm gonna feel like a teenager again, just like watching a fun show, having a good time, watching like a ninja and a samurai dude cut some CGI monsters, which I know I like bashed on the CG, but at the same time, like having this like 2000s level CG kind of made it even more nostalgic for me because it was like, oh, this is like the CG in Zoids, you know, like the series. Like when you look at the CG back then. It was kind of like this level, so it was
true.
nostalgic for me,
and yet somehow still better. Because at least then with those are giant robots.
Yeah,
we know how giant robots could move, and it just looks
guess
super
mechanical
cool.
designs you can get away with like some meh CG because they are meant to look kind of mechanically. And I guess here like they're monsters, so they should look less mechanically. But I don't know. I liked parts of this. I was, as I said, there was that COVID scare bit when I was watching it, and it was even scarier because the main area that they're in, Eric, is the same area that I was staying in Japan. Like when they
Sumida Ward?
Yeah, the Sumida Ward.
Sumida Ward, that's
the
one.
Sumida Ward. So the Sumida Ward is near Asakusa, and I was staying in Asakusa. And the Sumida Ward, there's like a big giant river and everything. And including the big tower, not Tokyo Tower. They have their own
some kind of capital tower, isn't it?
They have their own tower, and it's I believe it's actually even taller than the Tokyo Tower.
Shit. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. Because people were telling me like they can see Tokyo Tower like from above it. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't go because the lines were really big, but I kind of wish I did now. But it's a really nice area. But like the Sumida Ward area, like I really like it. Nice river, cool place. But when I was watching it and seeing like it completely damaged and, and the building shattered, I was like, oh no, that's where that Lawson's I went into, and that's destroyed, and that I was like, this is really scary.
Jeez, you're getting a little sentimental.
A little sentimental, and then at the same time, like I was like, I don't like this, because like I mean, think of it like this, Eric. Like, imagine you were watching the show, and they showed like New Zealand, and they showed your area in Johnsonville, and your house, and everybody else's houses were just destroyed. Like, it's kind of weird seeing somewhere you stayed like completely destroyed and in rubble.
Yeah, you probably see me on fire running around, screaming, ah!
No, you'd just be a corpse right outside the house. Just...
Can I please run around and be on fire? That sounds funnier.
Yeah, if you want. Well, I picture you like jumping out your window like covered in fire.
Oh my god.
So yeah, I think our final thoughts is I liked the show and Eric was kind of on the show.
Yeah, because it does kind of feel like a show I've already watched. I
didn't mind that.
Yeah, the introduction to time traveling samurais and ninjas and warrior monks did make things slightly interesting, but I don't know. Overall, I'm not sure if I can continue on. I
can't think of many I can't think of that many anime though where you've got infectious and things like a zombie type apocalypse thing like going on. Like, it doesn't happen that often. It happens a little bit, but not that often.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, are we still counting High School of the Dead?
Yes, that does count. But I watched that show.
That means you watched it.
I did. No, I did, because there aren't that many zombie horrors. Like, yeah.
Is that the only reason you watched it?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, like
I didn't watch all of it. I just watched a bit of it.
bullshit.
There were good parts of that with the horror. When they decided not to when they decided that it wasn't going to be a porno in certain bits, and they actually decided to do some horror.
Blasphemy.
It was genuinely good. There's a really good scene in that show, the bridge scene. Do you remember the bridge scene?
Yeah.
That's a genuinely good, scary scene. But then the problem is, like, I think that episode or 2 episodes later is also the infamous, like, tit rifle scene. And someone pointed this out in, like, another review of that show that there is fan service even for the zombies. I didn't even notice that, but there's fan service even for the dead. Yes, I'm not kidding.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that either. But apparently there is fan service for like the zombies. Like
that just sounds weird.
Yeah, but hey, I'm not surprised with that show. But I thought like it was interesting to see a zombie show because you don't get that many of them. And this was like you don't get many post-apocalyptic sort of shows anymore. And when anime does them, they like go, especially with the 80s, they just do like Mad Max basically. But it's nice to see like a show that's like, no, we're going to do like kind of a zombie type thing here. I sort of, I liked that. I liked that they have to like kind of get out of the city and go somewhere else.
No, that was definitely good premise. A decent premise for High School of the Dead. All
right, so we're going to get into the manga now. And I hope you feel like chicken tonight because our next manga is all about chicken. It is called Bougyaku no Kokekko, and it is all about basically...
I think you butchered that. Let me try. Bougyaku no Kokekko.
Yeah, I forgot the bow in it. Bougyaku no Kokekko. All right.
And let me describe this manga. Good. Giant chickens killing people. That is it. Okay. That is it. Giant chickens killing people.
You need to at least get the part where it's adults turning into chicken that start attacking kids.
It's still giant chickens killing people.
Okay, so the show is kind of like schlocky, silly horror, like definitely 100%.
Giant chickens killing people.
Yep. But the show knows it's that. I'm pretty sure it knows it's that. Like it doesn't take itself 100% seriously.
Because the giant chickens killing people.
Yeah. But I do think it's an interesting, like, even if you just don't count the chicken part of it, the concept...
Even the giant chickens killing people?
Well, like, no, because we've talked about this before. The concept of, like, growing up, and, like, if you grow up, you turn into this thing, is and they do, I think, play of it later on.
Into a giant chicken killing people.
Into a giant chicken that'll kill people, yes. I'm trying to make a serious point, and all you can think about is fucking chicken.
But it's a giant.
No, I know. It's a giant chicken that
killing people.
Killing people. Yes.
I will tell you about another ridiculous manga.
But don't you
2 chapters.
Okay, but
I will explain it to you later. Like seriously, but go on.
I was gonna say, don't you find at least the concept of like that sort of fear of growing up interesting that they're doing here, where they're establishing this idea that like if these kids grow up, they've got this massive fear that if any of them turn like 18, they're going to turn into a chicken.
Yeah, I didn't get it from that. I mostly got it from. It's
definitely there later on if you read more of this.
Yeah, well, I had only read maybe 10 chapters. Okay. But what I really got from it was just kind of the, I guess the perversion of what adults would look like, to children.
Yeah.
If they kind of grew up with these sorts of adults who became these chickens. Like, these are the chickens that don't even act like normal chickens. They kill people, okay? Whether or not we know that in real life chickens would grow up to be big and kill people, that's not something we know. But these chickens have also kind of, act in some sort of perverse and just genuinely almost humane manner. It's like we see a chicken grabbing a certain sexual device.
Yeah.
We see another chicken sexually abusing a young girl.
But they do kill them while they're doing it as
yes.
well. Yeah.
This is horrible, and yet somehow there is some truth to how these chickens act, and knowing that they came from they are born of these, that they are the adults. It's like,
I think it's a puberty angle. That's why I think it's interesting. I think it's very much trying to go for like a puberty angle of like the chicken is meant to kind of represent like these adults are growing, and like their sexual desire is like on a full fucking point, to the point where they're like almost killing people with it. Same way that like Devilman Crybaby, a lot of that was to do with like characters having like a sexual awakening, but their sexual awakenings like turning them into demons. This show, like they're doing that, but it's with chickens, like instead of
Yeah, and it's really messed up considering that what is it? Especially see the first scene we see where these giant chickens start popping up. We see this is during a class assembly, where the principal is speaking, and then all these kids are making fun of, them somehow finding out that the principal, what is it, bought some prostitutes in Thailand. And
no. They're making a joke that he went, like, he didn't go to Thailand. He went somewhere else. But they think he went to Thailand. They're like, he went and bought some prostitutes.
Because before he turned into a chicken, he just yelled out, "It's the Philippines, you retards!"
Yeah, and then his eye starts to twitch and he starts to change, and
he does a few things before that, but it's a bit too messy to mention here. So, if you are interested in knowing what the principal did after he yelled out, "It's the Philippines, you retards," please go ahead and read this. I think I think the one of the interesting parts I find is the main character. The main character himself is how would you describe the main character?
Kind of a wussy guy. He's like thinks he's really protective. I don't know. I really liked I am everybody's least favorite character in a horror movie, because I would be the annoying smart guy who's always trying to, like, especially in the zombie movie or like the ghost movie, like, there's no ghost. Or I'd be the dude be like, no, we're not fucking doing that. Or I would be the dude who, like, if they're not my friend, I would be like, yeah, let's leave Kathleen and go, because we're gonna be fucked if we stay here. Like, I'm not gonna be like, yeah, we need to jump down at the zombie horde and go save Kathleen. I'd be like, no, fuck you guys, I'm leaving. And then I'd probably get eaten by a zombie later on for my hubris or whatever.
Yep, that sounds about right. The main character at first, before the giant chickens came about, he seemed like a almost alright guy. Disregarding the fact that he's
a fucking idiot, though. I will say that.
He is a bit of a fucking idiot.
And you find that out later on, because he makes a really stupid choice that's like, hey, bro, like, this is stupid, like, really stupid.
Yeah. I think the one thing I actually liked about him is that he cared for, how much he cared for the kids in the orphanage he was in, because there seemed to be some quite well written, genuine care that he had for these kids. Yeah. Also, let's go on to the kids. What the hell is that design?
So I was going to talk about this, actually. So
yes, please. I want to hear what you think.
I think it's very... you've never seen Captain Harlock, I don't think, have you?
Not from memory.
So this reminds me of Captain Harlock, because Leiji Matsumoto, if he's not doing either a female character or like a prominent male character, all of them kind of have that weird potato-looking sort of design that these characters do.
Or in the case of one of these
short
kids,
and they've got kind of like they're not super detailed, but they've maybe got super massive eyes or something.
Because I will agree to some extent at least the height for these characters. The height looks pretty deep. It looks pretty accurate. But the facial designs, the body designs is like, what is it?
Yeah, they're a little more cutesy than the Leiji Matsumoto potato.
It's almost like looking like a more well detailed design of the characters from Shin-chan.
Yeah, they do seem a little out of place in times because the other characters are drawn like very normally. But
let's also remember that one of these kids puffed up their cheeks and their face looked like an ass.
Yeah, I think they're trying to go for a very distinct look with the kids, and maybe they're trying to go for something humorous with them, like that's meant to lighten the tone. because this isn't like, I don't think this is meant to be taken 100% seriously. Like, it is kind of schlocky and knows it's kind of a silly
God,
premise.
I hope not.
It does. I think it really does. And I think, like, it's rough in parts, but it's, you know, it's kind of got a bit of a dark sense of humor to it. So, yeah, I think that's maybe one of the reasons. But if we're getting into pros and cons, my biggest issue is the main dude is a fucking idiot. Like, I don't get upset at the usual things that people do in horror movies, like the phone. We can't use the phones at the moment. I'm like, yeah, that I don't judge like horror movies for doing that, because I've like went camping a couple times and I've had my phone not work when I've been camping. So
yeah, it's because you're out of the signal range.
Yeah, so if I see a horror movie where that happens, I'm like, oh, that's very realistic. If I see a horror movie where like the main character like is frozen stiff and can't move, I'm like, yeah, that's a real fucking thing. Because I've been sadly in situations where and I'm not going to get into that, but I know that when like something really fucking scary happens like that, your body can sometimes freeze up and you don't know what to do. And not everybody's result is I can run at that person and stab them or fight back or whatever. If you're trained, maybe, but not everybody.
No, even when you're trained, you should be smart enough not to know to do that.
Yeah, and most people aren't, sadly, you know, it just sometimes happens. You know, some people just get fucking scared and can't do it. But most people should be smart enough to know that if a real actual fucking criminal looking dude, like a guy who's trying to kill people, comes in and is trying to kidnap kids to use them as bait to get these chickens away so he can sneak out and basically probably kill you guys later, you shouldn't just let him in and then like try and almost help him.
I don't know
parts.
why they did that.
Like the smart dude with I can't remember his name, the dude with the black hair and glasses.
Yeah,
but that dude was really smart. Like he won. They got attacked by a giant chicken, and he didn't do what the main dude did, where he's just like, oh, I'll just tie it up and I won't do anything about it. Yeah, that might be like someone's mother or something that turned into that chicken. But I'm sorry, like people need to eat, so you're probably gonna have to eat something at some point.
Do you actually think it's best to eat that chicken?
What else are you gonna fucking eat if you run out of food, man?
But
like,
what is that chicken made of that would make it so delicious to eat?
Well, you know, you're either eating chicken or you're eating the people around you.
I'm pretty sure even they would be able to tell in the future how sick and tired they'll be of eating chicken.
Yeah. Well, you can do lots of chicken. You can fry it up. You can, you know.
Oh yes,
I almost boil it. You can do so much of it.
And I almost forgot. This is a manga series about giant chickens killing people.
Yeah.
I must mention that as often as I can because wow.
So main dude basically says no. He like kind of beats it up. He like almost gets killed by it though. And then basically is a fucking idiot, just like, he's just going to leave
Actually,
that down
one
there.
question that I haven't had answered yet is how on earth did he manage to survive the two giant chickens coming at him while he was riding a motorcycle, and then somehow manage to jump through a window on the second story floor, wearing no clothes and looking like he was burnt?
Yeah, main character
How
status.
did this happen? What happened? What happened, though?
Because he's the main dude. We're supposed to care about him.
That is not the answer. What the fuck happened?
Smart dude knows the right thing. Because he goes and kills... He doesn't eat the chicken, but he goes and kills the chicken. Because he knows that chicken's going to come up and fuck everybody up. So, of course, he kills that chicken.
Okay.
And he does the right thing. And everybody in the group's like, oh, you're such an asshole. I'm like, dude, that chicken would have fucking came and killed us.
Yeah, that is
Then
true.
later on, when the serial killer's like hanging out of them, and everybody's basically doing whatever the fuck he says, and then the serial killer's like even trying to manipulate everybody against like our smart dude by saying like, well, you chop your finger off if I, he's like, well, you chop your hand off or I'll kill this girl.
No, it's you chop your arm. You let me chop your arm off, or you let me chop the child's arm off.
Now, in that situation, that dude, smart dude, seems like he maybe could have fought back. And if I were him, I would have just been like, all right, come at me, bro. And then I would have got like the little kid to maybe attack his legs. And then, or I would just go for the obvious thing, kick him in the balls. Then while he's like dropped his knife.
I mean, at least the girl that the guy was holding hostage managed to, give him a nosebleed. But then they didn't do anything after that, so I'm thinking, seriously, the guy has a bleeding nose. He's distracted. Get the fuck out of there.
And the dude, Jesus, man, like, they think the dude's bad because the dude, like, doesn't know what to do. But he's being realistic. Like, the other guy, the main character, like, he gets put in the same situation. He just chops off his fingers. And it's like, oh, okay, you're kind of being an idiot. But whatever.
I don't even know what to say to that. The decisions of these main characters is...
But the smartest decision the smart dude makes that then gets fucked over is the smartest dude pushes this serial killer guy right outside the window. I'm like, good fucking on you, because now you've got two great things going. One, that guy was trying to use everybody else's bait, so why not fucking use him as bait, lure the chickens away, then you and your friends can get the fuck out of there. And you don't have to be around a fucking serial killer. But then this main dude's like, no, I gotta save this dude. So he goes and like tries to save him. Dude almost gets kind of eaten, but he kind of saves him. And now that dude's going to try and get revenge, basically, on this group. So, thanks a lot, main dude.
Yeah, but I mean, there's that. I haven't gotten up to that part, but I will say that is a horrible decision to make. There's a decent decision to make, but there's a horrible decision to make.
And this manga, when they get into like later on, they get into some of the origins and things like that. It gets really like.
Wait, you mean we get to know exactly how people? Yeah. How this manga started with giant chickens killing people.
And it gets like really kind of like stupid and convoluted and kind of sad in parts. And yeah, it's I don't know. This is a interesting read. I didn't mind it. I've read all of it. I had fun when I read it the first time. Reading it now, I'm kind of like, it's okay. What about you?
Well, I did think it was... I think I'll just keep reading it. It's very convoluted. It's very comedic. It's giant chickens killing people. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I've tried to see if there's any other manga similar to this because I feel like I've read it. The only thing I could find was another manga called Shibuya Kingyo, all right, which has a similar premise, but without the adults turning into giant chickens. Instead, somehow the world has become infested by giant flying goldfish that eat people. I am not joking about this. It's only 2 chapters in, and already the main character, it gets fucked over. Anyway, you should have a read of it, despite it only being 2 chapters. All right. And so, this is without a doubt the most convoluted manga I've ever read.
All right. So, this has been Alternating with Eric, episode 32. You can check out our YouTube page where I think quite a few of our episodes are up. I'm going to try and maybe get some more episodes up. But guys, do you listen to it on Spotify? Do you listen to it on the YouTube? Let me know because it does take me longer to get it up on the YouTube. And if you're not listening there, then I might just do the Spotify thing. Let me know. Let me know if you want it on any other just listening platforms. I'll see if I can get on Apple or whatever, iTunes or any other sort of listening platforms.
Yep.
And we do also post I mostly post a lot to the Instagram page, my own Instagram. That's insert Connor here. And on that page, I basically update the show, and you can see some other stuff going on in my life sometimes. And I occasionally put some music up there as well. And Eric is in charge of our Facebook page.
More or less.
Yes.
I really should be putting other stuff up there other than our podcast. But
he occasionally will post videos and things like that up there. The Instagram is mostly where most of the stuff goes. But yeah, if you're on Facebook, we have that. We do technically have a Twitter as well, but it's very inactive. That's Insert Cast, and I think there's a couple of links for the episodes up there. But you probably want to go to the Facebook or the Instagram. And as I said, the Instagram is Insert Connor here. The YouTube is Insert Cast Productions, but it will soon be Alternating with Eric. It's just going to take me a while to sort out some stuff on that. And the Facebook is, Eric?
It is
alternating with Eric.
Yes, it is alternating with Eric. Whoops, I was going to say inside cast, but I remember
No.
you shut that down a while ago.
No. So yeah, that is alternating with Eric, and we'll check you guys later. Bye.